Fantasy commodities to take daily fantasy sports higher. From News USA. The father of fantasy sports league management has teamed up with a renowned American economist and the End of Money author to create what could become the hottest and largest edition of the multi-billion-dollar daily fantasy sports industry. Fantasy commodities games involve forecasting changes in relative prices among commodities, including base metals, such as aluminum and copper, precious metals such as gold, silver and platinum, energy products such as crude oil, gasoline, and natural gas, and agricultural products such as wheat, corn, coffee and pork bellies. It should be a lot of fun, and quite profitable for those who become skilled players from all over the world, and can remain under a salary cap, while earning points based on the actual performances of the commodities in their real-world daily trading. The game's founders are considering possible partnerships with New York-based FanDuel and the Boston-based DraftKings in order to expedite the launch of their patent-pending fantasy commodities contest to the millions of millennials and others looking to test their daily draft skills outside sports. Patrick Hughes is known as the father of modern fantasy sports for co-creating Miller Franchise Football, which featured a beer distributor selling video, hosted by the legendary John Madden. He then co-created Fox Fantasy Football, which led to the creation and licensing of several of the leading league management fantasy sports sites, featured on ESPN, CBS Sports, Yahoo, USA Today and others. Hughes eventually sold his business to a unit of News Corporation, and his games have been displayed by the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and in Super Bowl cities. Richard Rahn is a former chief economist of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, former board member of the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority, and a member of the team that years ago developed the first successful petroleum futures contract for the New York Mercantile Exchange, and wrote the books, The End of Money, and The Struggle for Financial Privacy. Also, on the fantasycommodities.com, the team is international trade attorney and Barter in the World Economy author, Bart Fisher. Fantasy sports is a multi-billion-dollar industry that has run into some headwinds because of COVID-19 shutdowns and the limited number of suitable sports in countries with enough teams and leagues to support fantasy sports betting. Despite the difficulties, the big dogs, such as FanDuel and DraftKings, see a bright future, which is the reason that Yahoo, and now Facebook, have indicated they may enter the field of daily fantasy sports. Fantasy commodity games will require only low entry fees, limiting the risk relative to current commodities futures trading and stock trading. There are at least a couple of dozen globally traded commodities, with a one world price, which have sufficient liquidity to make the creation of a large variety of these games viable, and should broaden the player market to more than 180 countries.